All right, so it is me. You already know. So happy Easter anyway, right? So I figured everybody out, they doing their Easter thing, but are we doing our Easter thing though? So let's call this guy's version of an Easter sermon. So when you mix a little bit of numbers, a little bit of astrology, and a little bit of history into it, you get an interesting story, right? So today is Sunday. First off, people celebrate Easter at church. Now, I read the Bible backwards and forwards, whether people like to believe it or not. And I'd had to check again because just in case I was tripping. But the word Easter is not in there. You're not going to find it. I didn't get to go look into 1611 or any of the other versions of the King James, but it's just simply not in there. And so, with that being said, moving right along. So, you got Easter, which is, regular, the English word. When you break that down, it comes down to the number 23 and 5 brings you into Mercury. But they say Easter is a pagan concept and holiday. And so it comes under the goddess Astara, which breaks down into 20 and 2, which is the moon, which makes better sense, being that we're talking about a feminine principle, and we talk about spring and forward, and we're talking about fertility, right? So when you look at Sunday, Sunday comes down to what? 21 and 3, which will bring you into the planet of Jupiter. Today is what? March 31st, 2024. So I decided I was going to look. The whole date added up brings you to 15 to 6. It brings you into the energy of Venus, which is still a feminine principle. So if you're looking at the moon, you're talking about duality, partnerships, and union, right? This is not discussed in church. When you're talking about Venus, you're talking about the nurturer, sharing family and home. I'm not saying it's not discussed in church altogether, but I'm saying it's not broken down in church. So this is what you're talking about when you say, what mind you, let's get it clear. When you break down the word Easter and it comes into 23 and breaks down into 5 into Mercury, but you look it up and Easter is associated with the moon, which means that they didn't do the numerology, the numbers. So the vibration is going to be slightly off and there's going to be, misconceptions, right? But when you look at Astara or Astare, I don't say it right. You break the numbers down, it comes right where it's supposed to be, associated with the moon. So it's a whole lot of trickery involved in there. First off, you gotta ask yourself, why am I sitting in church? The word Easter is not saying you shouldn't go to church, but I'm saying the word is not in there. So y'all get sitting there kicking it about Easter and all this other stuff. It's not even in there. It has nothing to do with the book that y'all talking about for the most part. And so therefore, the deeper concept of it is not given. And I'm not even saying, I'm gonna say it's given, but it's given in a way where a lot of the sciences behind it and the astrology and the numerology behind it is not given. And so, they say that it shouldn't be doubt. We shouldn't dive into that. But in reality, it should be, because a lot of experiences like we have with weather, a lot of experiences we have with our health, a lot of experiences we have with communication, it all entails vibration. Even where certain, weather patterns change at, even, certain crops and cropping and all of that's associated with it. And so it's missed. If all is taken from you, if technology and all the good you guys is taken, most people are going to read a book that gives this particular information and they won't even know it's in there, because they was talking about Easter bunnies and even when you're dealing with that and the symbolism, the Easter bunny is just a discussion of fertility and so on and so forth, and springing forward, and equinoxes and things of that nature. But anyway, shout out to all of y'all that's doing Easter. I will talk to y'all on the next. I decided I'll just put on some clothes. I'm in the house for the day anyway, but I just threw on something because it's Easter and that's what we do on Easter, and now y'all got a different concept. But yeah, look into the date. 3/31/2024. You got Jupiter, you know. You got Saturn, you got Mars. For people who like to look, I'm not going to get into it with y'all, but I might break it down on the tube somewhere. But that's what it is. Ask yourself, why is Easter broken down into Mercury but associated with the moon, while Astara is, you know, the goddess, and is that that figure that's supposed to be associated with Easter, but when you break it down numerically, it still lines up with the moon. You have to ask yourself that. How is that possible? If we was trying to stay within a vibration and with the truth of the situation, then Easter should break down into the moon, because it's associated with the moon. It shouldn't be in the energy of Mercury, but most of y'all not going to know that. And so when you discuss in Mercury just for fun, you talk about flexibility, change of freedom, and sensation, and that has nothing to do with what's going on in Easter. Talk to y'all later.